Hi everyone, it's Liam here from A Shot of Wildlife, and today we're at Welney Reserve on the Ouse Washes. Now hopefully, because it's the beginning of spring, we're going to catch the last of the winter migrants before they head off to their summer grounds, and some of the early arrivals that spend the summer here in the UK.
There are several hides at Welney, and all of them give massive views out across the Ouse Washes.
So I've come to the first hide of the day. This is the main observatory, and although there's lots of birds way out in the distance, the stars of the show are definitely just here, 2 Whooper Swans.
From behind, all swans look the same. However, unlike the more common mute swan, Whooper Swans have yellow at the base of their beaks and don't have the large black bump that mute swans have. Most of the Whooper Swans in the UK have migrated here and breed much further north in subarctic Iceland, but in recent years some birds have bred in the far northern parts of the UK. In 2011, a pair actually bred here at Welney, but that was not by choice. A female had got injured and couldn't make her spring migrations, so her mate stayed with her and they nested here instead. You'll notice that these birds have leg rings. This is to help researchers to identify them and track them as they migrate. Out on the water, there were also some scattered pairs of diving ducks. This is a female Pochard. And here is the male. Just like the Whooper Swans, Pochard are mainly winter visitors, but do breed in the UK in small numbers. Those that migrate spend their summers in Russia and Eastern Europe, but only around 700 pairs actually breed here. These ducks are excellent swimmers and spend most of their time beneath the surface finding seeds and aquatic invertebrates to eat. On the pool in front of the main observatory there are 3 man-made islands. One of them was completely full of black-tailed Godwits, although most of these were asleep. Just on the edge of the other islands there is a pair of avocets. Although it might look like these birds are just preening, there definitely seems to be some courtship behaviour involved. Normal preening doesn't involve so much head bopping, and the birds seem to be mimicking each other at some points. Avocets only pair up for breeding, so each year they have to find a new mate before nesting begins again in April. There were also a pair of Tufted Ducks out on the water, but these only came up twice close enough to the hide for me to film them. Look how they jump from the surface before diving beneath it. It was time to move on to the next hide, but this one was less than impressive.
Well, coming from that main observatory, I have to say, this hide could do with a little bit of work.
I joked too soon. Getting to the next hide wasn't going to be a walk in the park, and I definitely grabbed hold of some stinger nettles on my way across.
After navigating a slightly less than conventional path, I've made it to the reedbed hide. However, I can't really see much wildlife from here, but I'm going to take a closer look.
The reedbed in front of the hide had been given a close shave, so there weren't any birds close in, and aside from the beautiful scenery, all I saw outside was a pair of coots passing by in the distance. However, the inside windows of the hide were a hive of activity. One of the most interesting creatures was this parasitic wasp. There are more than 6,500 species of parasitic wasp in the UK, and I have no idea which one this is. Their life cycle is pretty fascinating. Many of the species lay their eggs inside a living insect, and then the wasp's larvae develop and burst out when they are fully grown. Some of their favourite hosts are caterpillars and spiders. There was a more familiar species of wasp inside the window too, a common wasp. At almost 4 centimetres long, this isn't a worker, but is actually a young queen. In the springtime, they emerge from hibernation and begin searching for a new place to start to build a nest. Another stripy windowsill resident was this zebra jumping spider. They are really fast movers and catch their prey by jumping at them and grabbing hold with their large forward-facing fangs.
So that goes to show how sometimes you don't have to look outside of the windows, but actually on the windows themselves. There were so many invertebrates there, I could have made an entire film about just them.
The journey back from the hide was easier, and I definitely didn't get muddy boots. Well, maybe I did, but I didn't wear boots for them to stay clean.
So I've come to Nelson Lyle Hide now, and although the view from here is absolutely amazing, I'm not sure there's any birds out there that I haven't seen from one of the 2 previous hides.
I was wrong. Amongst some reeds there was a grey heron stalking for prey. During the spring, a lot of their diet is made up of amphibians, which are in plentiful supply and are distracted by the possibility of breeding, so are not on the lookout for predators. There was also an obviously named black-headed gull out on one of the scrapes. Most of the UK's other gull species are associated with the coast, but the majority of black-headed gulls are found further inland, on freshwater lakes and rivers, and sometimes away from water entirely. I'd been told that the next hide was closed to visitors as the roof had been blown off in recent bad weather, so I headed on to Friends Hide.
So I've come to the last hide of the day, and this is Friends Hide, and luckily out there is an old friend of the reserve, Remy.
Remy is the black-tailed godwit here on the right. She is a head starter bird that was raised in captivity by Project Godwit and released at Welney in 2017. The godwits that breed in the UK migrate south for the winter. It isn't clear where Remy spent her first winter, but in the April of 2018 she was spotted in Belgium, and remarkably she was showing courtship behaviour with a wild Belgian bird. Usually these 2 subpopulations don't cross over, and Remy must have learnt this as a month later she was spotted on the Nene Washes in Cambridgeshire, and by June she had paired up with a wild male and was rearing chicks. This is again unusual behaviour, as godwits don't usually breed until they are 2 years old. It isn't clear where Remy spent the winter of 2018, but she again returned to the UK in 2019. Since then, she has overwintered in Senegal, down on the west coast of Africa, and been spotted in Portugal too. This was filmed in March 2020 and was actually the first time she had been seen back in the UK this year. If you'd like to know more about Project Godwit and why they do their work and how you can get involved, I will leave a link for it down in the description. On the way back to the visitor centre, I decided to have one last check in the main observatory and caught this pair of grey lag geese trying to make some eggs in the evening sunlight. Unfortunately for them, a nearby Whooper Swan stepped in to break things up. If this swan was a male, you could say that he cob blocked them.
Well, unfortunately that's all we've got time for in today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also check out some of the other British wildlife videos that you'll find there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.